Feels great.
Feels great.
Feels great to be here, Ben.
Here we are.
All right.
Year 2.
Everybody ready?
Ready to go.
Year 2.
Are you keeping your phone there?
Do you want me to move it?
I just, if it rings or something, I don't know. Into like
I can-
buzz and
look, I
vibrate
can
into the
move it.
microphone. Talk to the producer.
Follow your heart, Are you asking me to move it?
No. I just, wanted to call out that. Okay.
Do you think it's the best place for your phone?
Do you think maybe your pocket?
Top 10 places for your phone.
If you want me to move it,
Hold on, just tell me, of all the places Mac for this phone, is that the best? I'm just not sure. There's a lot of places in here. It's right next to the microphone. I don't know. It doesn't seem great.
Let's look around the room here. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Off to a great start.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Welcome to 3 Films and a Podcast, the show where destiny brought together 3 friends to enhance each other's cinematic journey by watching 3 new movies in a series of themed rounds. There is no claim of ownership on any film footage used in this episode, as all film footage is owned in its entirety by the copyright holders. And just like every car in Too Fast, Too Furious, this podcast contains spoilers. Enjoy.
All right. Hello and welcome back to 3 Films and a Podcast. My name is Tyler Beck, and joining me, as always, is my dear friend Benjamin Lawhorn.
Hello.
And my dear rival. No, just kidding. They're both my dear friends. And so are you. You're here watching. You're hanging out. You're part of Movie Club. And at the top of the pod, I said, welcome back. And that's true. Welcome back. No matter if this is your first time or your 100th time, if it's your first time, you've always been here in my heart and in our hearts. And if it's not your first time, if this is, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 100th time, whatever.
We hope it's your first time every time.
Yeah, every time. We just appreciate your support. We're happy you're here. We're happy to be here. And you're catching us on a pretty special episode for us. This is the end of season 2. And
wow.
Yeah, wow sums it up pretty succinctly.
I was just going to say, I think you're saying it joking, first, 3rd, or 100th, but this is literally our 100th episode.
Did not know that.
Episode 100.
We wanted to wait till now to surprise you.
Perfectly. Yeah. So, episode 100. This is a
crazy
big deal. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I can't believe that we got here, but I'm really excited.
And we're glad you're here.
Yes. Yeah. All of the above is true. Normally, we would be talking about a specific movie. The intent of this podcast is to explore new movies with each other and with all of you. New to us, whether they're new or old, it doesn't really matter. The point being is that none of us have seen them, and we're just trying to broaden our cinematic horizons and hopefully do the same for you.
Yeah.
But this episode, what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of recap the year. We're going to talk about some of our favorites, maybe least favorite stuff that we watched. Shout out some of the guests that have come on. And we want to take some time and answer some questions that folks like you sent in before recording this episode. And I want to lead off with with this question specifically from Jordan at Mighty Jor on Twitter. And they asked, I'd be interested to learn about the genesis of your podcast and how we all know each other and what brought about the podcast. And it's a perfect way to lead off the show. We've talked about it a little bit. So for those of you that have been following along for all 100 episodes that I totally knew the number of, you'll know this, but Ben and I have been good friends for quite some time, and Matt and Ben have been good friends for quite some time. So this man right here is the linchpin and the heart and soul of this podcast.
He's why we do it.
He's why we do it.
And now you guys have been friends for quite some time.
That's right.
2 years, you might say.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We've been friends for 100 episodes.
100 episodes, we've been friends. We've been cordial for 100 episodes.
But way back in the day, Benjamin here did a challenge to watch 500 movies in 1 year, which was insane and bananas. And I don't know how far you got into it.
I got into the 400s, but I did not make 500.
That is insane. And knowing that number of movies you've seen just in that 1 year, and the conceit of this podcast being unseen movies, I can't believe we found as many that we've been able to find. But I wanted to do something similar, and I wanted to find a way to watch new stuff to me. Mm-hmm. Watch movies that I hadn't seen before that I felt like I should. And so Ben and I came up with this little movie club where we would create a a nomination criteria, and we'd pick movies based on that, and we'd watch them and we'd text about it. And then Ben brought in Matt into the fold. And we continued on with that pattern, just the three of us. And then Ben, again, had the brilliant idea to put it on tape and put it out there for the world to join in on. So that's how it all started. It was a pandemic pod, as they call them.
That's
as
our
we
pandemic
call them.
baby.
Yeah, it's our pandemic baby, and it's going on 3 years old now. It's been an absolute blast, and it's at the very least, it's been a fun exercise to be a part of.
We've watched a lot of fun stuff in the last couple of years.
Fun stuff.
I'm excited to talk about
great.
season 2.
So season 1 was all sort of just about like finding a rhythm, finding our voice, and season 2 was more about like honing in, dialing that in and kind of figuring out what we wanted to put out in the world and how we wanted to put it out there. And so we made much more conscious effort in the sorts of criteria that we were, choosing to
watch. I guess, or select.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so personally, I was really proud of that.
I mean, we'll talk about it when we get into the awards, but the fact that we had more than 3 female performances to choose from was awesome, because that was a huge deal last year when we handed out the awards. Like, is it Shelley Duvall? I don't know who else.
We have one actress.
So I'm excited to get into those awards as well. But I mean, I think we had a pretty diverse group this year, so
absolutely.
I'm excited, and
we're still finding our way though.
Yeah,
sure. We're still evolving. If you like the changes that we made this season compared to last season, give us a like. If you don't like it, give us thumbs down, but subscribe either way. Share it with your friends.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I don't really know totally what to say or how to segue into season 3, but
we're already done.
I guess we're trying. I guess we're going to try and do the same thing, right? Like we're always going to be try to evolve and make sure we're putting out something that's worth your time, and hopefully it's fun to follow along with at the very least. We're going to start the year off in October, or start the season off in October with movies so bad that they're scary. We're sort of putting a twist on the Halloween theme. So they're not going to be Halloween movies per se, but it should be a good time. We're going to do a round of legacy sequels. We're going to do another twist on one of our favorite rounds, the Unsung Gems round.
Look at that.
But we're going to do Sung Gems. And basically, it's just a little treat to ourselves for Christmas. Movies that we
pat ourselves on the back a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's give it back to ourselves.
It's not going to fit the criteria of the podcast at all, but it's just going to be movies that we love and we want to watch and talk about. And then we're also going to be doing a round of French films. And then beyond that, you'll have to stay tuned. And if you have any ideas, maybe of interesting criteria that you'd want to see introduced to the pod, let us know.
And those are just like the official rounds. We're still going to be doing little pods. So let us know if there's stuff you want us to recast, or, we've done auction drafts recently, which have been a lot of fun. So if you have ideas, or honestly, if you want to join us, like, we would love that. Like, we love having a guest as often as possible. So hit us up. Let us know. Yeah.
Speaking of guests, I want to take a minute and go over the guests that we've had this season. And I want one of you two to do it. I feel like I've been monologuing quite a bit to open up this episode. And that's not what this podcast is about.
It's not monologuing.
It's not about me as much as I want it to be.
Rock, paper, scissors? Or do you just want me to do it?
Let's let Ben do it.
I mean, it doesn't matter. You can figure out the next thing. So these are our Clubhouse members that we had for season 2. Obviously, we have some returning members here, which was a lot of fun. My partner, Ashley, who we lovingly refer to as the Watch Party MVP. And we'll be getting back to watch parties in season 3, which I'm excited
Bringing
about.
Him back.
Yeah.
Got to let her title reign.
That was a big omission from season 2.
Yeah. Just
the fans weren't having it
from us.
Seriously, we heard it every week. Yep. The inbox full of.
I went to bed crying a few times,
Just
bringing back the watch party,
the movie club.
Yeah, and we're gonna bring it back for sure. So I'm excited about that. She came on for a few. She helped us kick off season 2 with Scream. We talked about that at the beginning of this season. And then she was also part of our rom-com recast, which the movie club voted on and decided on 10 things I hate about you.
Thank you, movie club.
Yeah, it's a favorite amongst us.
For sure.
But, I mean, with the conceit of this pod being watching new stuff, it's always fun to go and like watch something that like we know and we love. So Is that a phone? Was that a phone? What? Oh, it wasn't
sure
on the
glad
table.
It wasn't right
though.
next to your microphone on the table.
That would have been awful.
I seriously never have my phone with sound.
That was
on.
beautiful.
I love it.
And I love that we have the whole preamble to all that recorded too.
It's so good. I love it so much. So we recasted 10 Things I Hate About You, which was a ton of fun. I got to cry at that poem once again, as always.
We got to realize that we don't know any actors in Hollywood under the age of like 30.
That was shocking. Seriously.
We have aged out of the high school
Very
demographic.
I still don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we should have a segment here for season 3 resolutions.
Oh yeah. I like that. You can head that up.
Yeah.
That'll be your segment. So
Okay.
start making notes on your phone if she got on you.
Yep. My phone.
So we did 10 things, but she was also joined by who just happens to be our favorite Weiler, Matt's lovely wife, Angie.
Oh.
So they were both on for the 10 Things recast. Angie also joined us for Beaches. So that was a fun movie. That's still one I think about, of just like, what's the best beginning to a movie like that's going to hook you in? And that's up there for sure.
I have a feeling we'll be talking more about Beaches later.
Without a doubt. Outside of our literal family, podcast family, probably one of the strongest members we have, Ethan Simi. He runs 15 Minutes of Marvel, and I also do 24 Minutes of A24 with him. He was on for quite a few this season, which was a blast.
He's our Ant-Man.
He is our Ant-Man. He is, as much as he may not want to be.
I want to try and it makes so much sense in my head why he's Ant-Man. Does it make sense to you guys?
Not at all, but I'm
because he's not a core Avenger, right? He came in a little bit later.
I like it in the sense that it's like somewhat throwing soft shade at
I mean, I love Ant-Man. I don't mean it that way.
I love Ant-Man too.
I just mean like he's not a part of like the core Avengers, but he comes in and plays a pivotal role.
He does play a pivotal role.
Always fun when he's around.
And it was a big shot in the dark, much like they did Guardians.
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna go Eternals. God,
Okay.
that was it, Jimmy. You ruined me. You ruined me, man.
Oh yes.
Oh.
That's got to cut that into a clip, and that's got to be a meme.
I definitely see that. Yeah.
I really do mean it as like a warm term. I didn't do a very good job of when I introduced this term.
At least you didn't call him Hawkeye. He may have never come on again if you had called him Hawkeye.
I was like, who's the character that I love that like isn't a part of the core group, but when he's around, it's always a good time. Yeah. That's Ant-Man. That's Ethan.
Well, that makes perfect sense.
That's been gnawing at me. I had to find some resolution there before we got into season 3.
Hopefully Ethan, gets it better now too.
We'll probably find out from Ethan if he's okay with it. Yeah,
we will. So he joined us for Christmas with the Cranks, which is one of his favorites. So that was cool to watch.
Love the Cranks.
Yeah, love the Cranks. Jamie Lee Curtis forever. Spider-Man No Way Home, which I know we're going to be talking about later on. And both of our auction drafts this year, which we kicked off for the first time in season 2, we did an MCU auction draft, and then we did a film franchise auction draft. So,
and he won the MCU auction, didn't he?
He did win the MCU, but he did not win the film franchise one. But
no, he did not.
No, he did not. But yeah, he did win the MCU one, which fitting, giving his podcast. He may have lost the film franchise auction draft because he didn't draft any MCU movies.
Wow.
The
Probably
man with a Marvel podcast.
Could have helped.
No Spider-Man, no Wolverine, no MCU, but
nothing.
Whatever.
Wow.
Yeah. He's got Ethan Hunt, which he's seen one movie of. My cousin Graydon.
Talk about throwing shade. It's overt. I was trying to be loving.
My cousin Graydon, I guess, back to actual family. He created the theme song for this podcast. So if you enjoy it, you enjoy him. Check out his band Umbells. I have, doing some videos for them coming up here, but check out their music. They are fantastic. He joined us for Scrooged, which was a lot of fun to talk about as well. Let's see. We had Freddie and Santos on. I missed this episode, but they're from the 88 Miles Per Hour podcast, like about Ernest Scared Stupid.
They're a lot of fun. You should check out their show. I haven't seen them. I guess they're really only on Instagram, huh? They don't really do Twitter.
Yeah, I think so.
I haven't seen a lot from them, but I don't know. They're a fun couple of dudes. Santos kind of like took over the show, which was a lot of fun.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And Freddie, he like fronts a Depeche Mode cover band, which is awesome.
So cool.
Cover band's probably using it lightly, but yeah.
Well, they pitched maybe the funniest movie series idea I've ever heard, which is So Ernest, Jim Varney did this series of Ernest movies, which for every genre, like a Christmas one, a Halloween one, goes back to school, goes to prison. They pitched that Napoleon Dynamite should come back as a series like that.
It should.
That's right. It absolutely should.
It's perfect for John Heder. Like he should
100%.
do that. Yeah.
I think John Heder could have had a career of 4 movies if he would have did what Ernest did. No one cared about anything else John Heder did. Like he should have been Napoleon Dynamite goes to camp.
Yeah,
exactly. Yes. Like, why couldn't he been that character for a bunch of movies?
Hey,
that's what we wanted.
It's not too late.
Napoleon Dynamite goes to Tijuana.
Dude, there you go.
There we go. That would be crazy.
Helping the car. He gets involved with the cartels. He gets,
See, he goes with Pedro because Pedro has family in Mexico, right?
And he can speak Spanish for him.
But then Napoleon gets lost and he accidentally goes with the cartel. See?
Now I'm mad that didn't happen because I want that. That's
Napoleon acts like he knows Spanish.
That's a good pitch.
Yeah.
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, ¿tienes tu drogas? Quiero yo drogas. Vamos a un rave. Vámonos.
That's a pretty good idea.
The rest of his life.
Yeah.
Napoleon does Christmas. Napoleon goes on a cruise.
Their idea was that Napoleon joins the cartel.
Napoleon.
That's right. The cartel.
So funny.
Oh man, that'd be so cool.
Way better pitch than a cruise.
Shout out Santos, who is not Carlos, and I made that blunder. We shared stuff. So thank you to Freddie and Santos for joining us. We covered one of my newly favorite movies, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we had Kelly Madden on from Drunk Theory and Caleb from Paranormal Burrito. That was a blast. You missed out on that one, right? Yeah, but man, my life has changed since that movie.
Definitely a highlight of season 2.
For sure.
Recording the podcast was super fun. Both those guests were great. But that movie blew me away is probably strong, but I don't know. I loved it.
It's just like a cultural, it's like a cultural landmark that you just have never visited. And then you go, it's like, how did I not visit this?
Yeah. And I'm so ignorant that I feel like before 1990, like you couldn't talk about being anything other than straight or white in a movie. You know what I mean? Like in my ignorance, I thought the way that, marginalized groups are being represented now is like a new thing, and it's not really. I mean, the amount that it's happening, is new. But these stories have been around for a long time, and these characters have been around for a long time, and these communities have been around for a long time, and so it was just like a cool way for an ignorant white dude to learn a little bit.
Well, we talked about this when we did that round. Is that it felt like those communities can only be addressed in a provocative way before.
Right.
And so it's almost like it had to be all the way that way for you to even get something produced.
Totally. Yeah.
But you couldn't just casually or just in a real world setting have, normal relationships like that.
I think that was what was so cool about the movie is you're right. They had to do it in a fantastical way with these crazy characters, but that group of characters in that castle, they genuinely all do seem to love each other. Mm-hmm. They have a beautiful community. And so I thought the juxtaposition between the way that society would accept them versus the actual true love inside that castle. I don't know. It's really cool, really beautiful, really fun stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a highlight of this pod. And it's just another benefit to Movie Club is you get to learn these lessons,
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see here. Where did I leave off? Jimmy here from Botox with Big Jim. He joined us for a couple little pods, the X-Men recast.
Jimmy wasn't. Deadpool it wasn't.
Oh, it was Deadpool.
Jimmy couldn't show up, so Deadpool came.
Deadpool did show up with at least amongst us one of the best moments ever.
100% of my life.
Yeah, it's something I'll never forget when he drafted Ray Fiennes as was it his Storm?
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey. Oh my God, that was just one of the best moments ever. I loved it.
So okay. All right.
You can do this.
Here we go.
It's okay.
I did not anticipate this at all.
Do you want to trade Anne Hathaway for someone else?
Ray Fiennes just really f***ed my head. I was I don't know where I'm going. I was am I doing this right? I think Jimbo's getting in my head here.
I'm going everywhere, man. You guys are not ready for some of my answers.
All right, give me Maggie Smith. I don't know. Take all the Harry Potter people. I don't know. Okay.
I would love to see Maggie Smith as Jean Grey.
She'd be so good. She'd be so good.
That would be amazing.
I'd pay for that movie. Yes.
You know, we're getting a new X-Men in the MCU. Who knows? You know, he may have been onto something.
Yeah.
And then he did also join us for the MCU draft, which was a lot of fun. Our buddy Josh Johnston, who we've known for a very long time, joined us for Princess Mononoke. Adam Palcher, the Podfather, who we've had on here a few times. He joined us also for the Miyazaki round for Howl's Moving Castle. And then he came in and it was 1v3 to talk about Joker.
He plugged Todd Phillips pretty hard.
He did. Yeah. He did a really good job. I can't lie. As I'm sitting here listening to him, I was like,
it was a great conversation.
Good points. Yeah. It was
Joker.
Yeah.
Even still, I still think I should like Joker.
Yeah.
To this moment, I'm like, I should watch it again and give it another chance.
I think the conversation.
Right? Like, it's insane. Why would I think that?
But he did a really good job. And like, honestly, it's like I was sitting there listening to him. I think I was realizing my issues with Todd Phillips. I walked away from that pod realizing like, oh, it's Todd Phillips, which unfortunately is the thumbprint of the movie. So I still don't like the movie, but I was like, okay, it's like, that's what it is. It's about him. So, but I feel like we might be answering that.
He's like the one person, like, it's fine if you like Joker. I promise you we can still be friends. But like, I hear someone like love Joker and I'm immediately like, okay, do not take film recommendations from this person anymore. But like Palcher's the first guy where I'm like, no, like he brought, you know, all the reasons why people like Joker.
Yeah.
And it make, like Ben said, it makes sense.
I mean, he's the Podfather, man.
I mean, it really like caught me off guard. He's come on for a few of the movies that I've picked. I'm like, oh, our taste is like pretty similar. And then he's like, I want to come talk about Joker. I love it. It's like, what is going on? But yeah, no, this was that was a great episode. I had a really good time actually with that one. Mike and Darren from the Action Filmmaking Decoded podcast. Oh, back up real quick. Palcher has a podcast called Deep Dive Film School. Go listen to it. If you like this, it's because like of that. So go check them out. That's a fantastic podcast.
If you like this, you'll like that one more, but subscribe to this one first.
But listen to us first and then go listen to them. So so Mike and Darren from Action Filmmaking Decoded podcast, they joined us twice, 1.5 times if you're listening to the episodes, but they joined us for an action movie draft, which I forgot to record half of. And then they came on for something we are definitely talking about later on, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
You're going to be tired about hearing about this movie.
Yeah, this is like the first time we've mentioned it.
If you're not already, I mean, this movie had a moment where you couldn't get away from it.
Yeah, I would suggest not doing a drinking game for Everything Everywhere. Like if we're going to talk, do not take a shot because you're going to be done. Our buddy Chris from Real Ramblin', he joined us a few times for It's a Wonderful Life. He came on to defend, I think with both of you, Interstellar.
3v1 again.
It was 3v1, but I was the one this time. And then he also joined us for the franchise draft, which was a blast. But we had some guests on from the podcast that wouldn't die, which definitely goes down as the most contempt for a movie we've had from a guest, which genuinely though, like I love, like I think it's fantastic. Mm-hmm. They came on to talk about Edgar Wright's movie Last Night in Soho.
Fans.
Not huge fans. That was also one of my favorite moments. Like, give an elevator pitch of why someone should watch this. Like, why would I want people to watch this? Like, totally fair. Yeah,
fair enough. Moving on.
And you are getting out of the elevator.
yeah, exactly. Our good friends Leah and Beth Ann from She Will Rock You. They both joined us for Steel Magnolias. They joined us in season 1 for one of the weirdest movies, Buddy Holly story with Gary Busey. That was a crazy one, but they came on for Steel Magnolias, and then Beth Ann joined us for both of our auction draft, the MCU and the film franchise draft.
My biggest regret of this season is not being there for the Steel Magnolias episode.
Oh man,
I loved that movie, and I love those women, and I wish I could have talked about that movie with them. And I love their pod too. Check them out.
Their podcast is super awesome.
Yeah.
One of the best. So we will see both of them back on here without a doubt. Jake Draper, aka Blake Riverton, the winner of our Danny Ocean Award. He joined us. He was nice enough to grace us with his presence at least once this year. He came on for Seven Samurai.
Well, he was there. He went to a movie with us.
That's true. Yeah.
We just didn't do an episode
so
about it.
He graces his presence twice.
Yeah, quite
we
literally.
Recorded once.
Yeah. That's what I don't know if we talked about on the pod or just amongst us, but that was like Did I tell you? I think I've told you this. Like, I went to introduce Tyler to Jake, and then I realized like I had never met Jake either. But it's just like we'd done so many like conversations over Zoom and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, it's my buddy Jake. I know him. Like,
well, when I saw him, I was like, that guy looks just like Jake Draper.
Like, I think I know.
Then he said hi to me, and I was like, wait, oh shit, that is Jake Draper.
I know him. Let's see. Oh, the guys from the Recasted pod both joined us individually. One joined us for the Batman and Robin recast. Again, another fun episode. The other joined us for the Oscars Best Picture movie draft. So hopefully we can get them both on to do a recast or something like that. So check them out.
If you're curious what the So Bad It's Scary round is going to look like, might look a lot like Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
Same sort of tone.
Yeah.
Like fun to watch in a bad way.
Yeah.
Sometimes not even fun.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Almost fun.
I had fun with Batman and Robin, but it was painfully fun.
It was painfully fun.
Difficult at times.
Yeah, I was like, I want to turn this off,
sure.
but at least I can laugh at it, not with it. But
I think, is that the one round that we should tell everyone what those movies are, since it's going to be starting next week?
I guess we could, yeah.
Should we release it?
Yeah.
What our picks are? I think our qualifier was essentially like under 30% or something on Rotten Tomatoes or something. So we're going to be kicking it off with Tyler's pick, which is the Tommy Wiseau classic, The Room.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
And I picked that strictly because I just have never seen it and I've always wanted to. I have no idea what it's rated on Rotten Tomatoes. I could see it being rated higher on audience score than it deserves, maybe.
For sure.
Yeah.
I just was like, it's a movie that I feel like is missing from my personal filmography. So I'm excited about this whole round.
Yeah.
But The Room, I'm super stoked on.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I picked The Mummy, but not the Brendan Fraser one. We're talking about Tom Cruise's The Mummy. I want to talk about something that ruined an entire cinematic universe before it started. I was like, how is this movie so bad that they like just scrapped it? Like, no, we can't do this. And like a Tom Cruise movie,
right?
You know, which little hint, maybe a recurring theme for some of my picks coming into season 3, but
we're cruising through season 3.
We're cruising through. I don't know. I'm curious to see.
Yeah. When I can't wait for some of the cruise stuff that we're covering.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of the most insane things that you've never even knew existed. We're going to be covering this season.
That's very true. Stuff I've never heard of before. I'm like, oh, that's a Tom Cruise movie.
It's going to be awesome.
All right, cool.
I picked The Wicker Man. Wicker Man. It's a remake of an old horror movie. It's starring Nicolas Cage. I saw this movie when I was, I think, 16. And I could not believe what I was seeing. And sometimes I will revisit clips on YouTube.
I was going to say, I think I've seen a scene from this movie.
Is that the bees one? Is that like not the bees?
Yes.
Okay, that's like all I know
there's
about
bears from this movie, but it's more than bees.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
More than just the bees.
Nick Cage has always got more of his sleeve.
Oh, I cannot wait. So that's going to be October. We're going to wrap it up with a very special guest near and dear to my heart. My dad is coming on, making his debut in season 3. And we're going to be talking about Young Frankenstein, possibly doing a recast, but we're going to cover that Mel Brooks classic, which is going to be a lot of fun. Kayla from Screen Vomit. Kayla, shout out. Man, they're one of my favorite people to have on, mainly because I love how much
I've missed both of their episodes.
Yeah.
So I talked about how Santos took over an episode earlier.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of hosting both of the times that Kayla's been on the show, and they dominate the show in a way that I it's impressive.
It just throws you off your game.
Yeah.
And I love it, especially going back and watching, like editing it. It's like, oh, I think this is like where Tyler lost it.
Yeah.
Like
There's just moments I can't keep up with them. Like, I can't do this. It's a good test. And they're a lot of fun, and they have a really cool perspective. And I really appreciate the way that they see the world and see movies and think about things. And I learn a lot every time they're on. Yeah. And I learn how to be a better podcast host every time too, because they put me through my paces.
Yeah. So Kayla has a pod called Screen Vomit. They joined us for The Lost Daughter and The Matrix. So definitely check that out. John, our buddy from Life's But a Song.
Our honey boy.
Our honey boy. 100% our honey boy. He came on for Honey Boy and then also joined us for The Greatest Showman. I invited him. He was like, oh, he's got a musical podcast. He's going to come talk about this. And it's like, oh, he does not like this movie. Like,
it was awesome.
It was fantastic.
The perfect guest for that movie.
Yeah, without a doubt. So he is also going to be joining us for one of the So Bad Scary movies. We've also gone on his pod. You guys went on for Purple Rain.
Yep.
And I think I'm going to be joining him soon to talk about This Is Spinal Tap. So yeah, check that out. Longtime friend Justin Wong came on. This is like one of the saddest pods that I had to miss because this was my pick for an unsung gem.
That's right. You did.
I was so bummed that I missed this one, but he came on to talk about Michael Clayton, which is just like one of my favorite movies. So without a doubt, we will have Justin back on. He was longtime like personal friend, also like our very first patron. So shout out to Justin. We appreciate your support.
And his setup always looks so good.
He makes us look literally bad. He's so
especially
good.
like our backgrounds in video. You still work in video production and like
and he's just he's got it all dialed in. So let's see. All right, Tom from Talking.
At least our graphics always look good.
Yeah, it's true. No one's going to beat us.
He even makes my graphics look bad.
No.
He just doesn't submit. And he's like, I don't make Matt feel bad. So yeah. Our buddies from Talking Pictures Trivia, Tom and KJ, both came on separately. Tom joined us for Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. He joined us last season for the Apu trilogy and Close Encounters, right? I think he came on for that as well. And then KJ joined us for Spirited Away, which was one of my favorites, the movies of this year.
Same.
Nor Hall from Geeky Waffle. She joined us for Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, our reigning film franchise auction draft champ, Thomas Carter Rochester from Lights, Thunder, Action. He joined us for that, but I know we're going to be seeing him again, I believe, for one of our legacy sequels, which I'm going to keep under wraps for now, but I'm excited to have him back. And then Jen made her return as well. Jen from I Hate Your Taste in Movies came on for the film franchise auction draft.
Too.
Yeah,
they are the best. They recommended a movie called Bone Cop, Bad Cop. Which like I finally like got through and I was like, this
you
is
watched
like,
it?
Yeah, I got through and I was like, I needed to see the first one. Yeah. I remember Austin recommending it. She picked it in, I forget was it summer movies or something like that? Was it her unsung gem? Oh, okay. Yeah.
And her Clubhouse questions.
So yeah, I don't know. Thanks again. Like for everyone that came on, those are all of our Clubhouse members from this year. We're looking forward to many, if not all of them coming back for season 3, as long as as well as all the new people we have joining us. So yeah, that was our Clubhouse for season 2.
Quite the group. For sure.
I mean, since we're talking about Clubhouse, should we answer our new question? Or do you want to save that?
Yeah. So if you don't know, if you are a guest on our show and it's your first time guesting, the 3 of us each ask you a question, and just sort of to get to know you better and your movie tastes better. And my question used to be, what was your favorite in theater experience? Mm-hmm. And the answers to that question were dominated by Avengers Endgame, which, I mean,
Titanic,
for good reason,
understandably.
So I switched it up a little bit, and the question now is, what movie do you wish you could rewatch again for the first time? And that's been super cool. We've gotten a better variety of answers there. And I actually don't know what either of you would pick. I know what I would pick because it was the genesis of the question.
Yeah.
It's Lord of the Rings. I'd love to watch Fellowship of the Rings again for the first time.
Cool.
But I specifically want the same perspective. I want the exact same experience. I want to have the same perspective. I don't know what my answer would be with my perspective now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would love to be able to experience that all again for the very first time.
It's hard for me not to like have the same answer for the question that you used to ask before in theater experience, because it's like I want to experience that again. Mm-hmm. And that for me was seeing Inception, because my memory may be wrong, but I was the only person in the theater, if not just like one of a handful of people. It was like during the day we used to work a job where we'd have like midweek off, and so I probably went and saw like a Wednesday at 4, and I just like. It blew my mind seeing that on the big screen. So part of me wants to answer that. It's just like, I want to experience that again for the first time. But I think, just, for diversity's sake and mixing it up, it's something that we actually watched in season 2 that I remember finishing and just being like, how real was that movie? And that's City of God.
Oh,
because when I watched that for the first time, like there are scenes in that movie that just look so documentary style. And it's just like, how did they get these kids? Like, and these are like kids off the street. So they're not trained actors and they are legit crying. Like they are like doing all this stuff. It's like, I was just blown away by that movie. It was something, it was one of those amongst many movies that was just like, I didn't know you could do that with movies, and I think that's like one of the best things to experience is just like, I've never seen anything like this. And I don't think anything could replicate it. Like it seems very individual and stands on its own. So I was super happy to watch it again. But, just like in the moment right now, I'm thinking that's what my answer would be. Like, I would love to, if I could erase that memory and like experience it again for the first time, that thing just kind of like blew me away. And I would love to experience that again.
Yeah. And that's actually, while you were talking and I'm thinking about it, that could be what I would want to watch with my perspective now, because my experience with City of God certainly changed between the first time I saw it and then the second time in our Unsung Gems round. I nominated it because neither of you had seen it. I don't think you had both seen it.
I had not seen it yet.
But it's a movie that I loved. I had seen it years ago. Adam Pocher, the Podfather, recommended it. And I loved it for a lot of the same reasons I still love it. The style of it, like the characters are all really cool. It's shot really interestingly and cool. It's like the violence of it all didn't bother me in a way that it does now. Like it doesn't necessarily, like violence doesn't put me off completely, but it definitely like hits me more. We've talked about this quite a bit actually over this mainly this season. I feel like it's come up quite a bit more, but I'd be curious to know, like, as a soft old man, seeing City of God for the first time, like how I would feel about it, because there was a part of me that was like, I don't know, it just hits different. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah, it's still cool and fun, but it sat with me a lot more the second time than it did the first time.
Yeah, definitely with the time. I had seen it before, maybe a couple times, but it had been a while. So watching it again, especially in the context of this pod, was a whole different experience. But I do just vividly remember, the first time I watched it on a DVD, on probably like a 14-inch screen or something like that. I was like, oh, whoa, what is that movie? That's crazy. So that'd probably be my answer. Or, if you want to take a shot, Everything Everywhere All at Once, that would be another answer that I would just go.
I actually do wish I could have experienced that for the first time, just because mine was so weird.
Yeah,
and
that's
that weird
true.
Theater experience, which, adds to, it's part of life. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's part of why you go outside to have these weird interactions and stuff. So, but I would like to be able to like settle in and see it again for the first time. But I don't know.
Yeah, mine would be, so this would erase like all the superhero slate that we know now. And I would go back and I would just think of like just the vibes of that original X-Men movie and seeing that for the first time.
Yeah.
And it was also like looking back, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to think back on a time when something could be so distant from the source material and not just get slaughtered on the internet.
Yeah.
I know people had gripes about it not being the like comic or TV show true costumes and stuff, but like once people saw how cool the movie was, it was like, this is cool.
And it's so funny because I remember personally having that gripe. I loved the X-Men cartoon. Yeah, I'm sure all of us did. Yeah. And I remember thinking like, but their costumes aren't yellow. But now looking back, like imagine if they had done that. It would look so bad.
Yeah.
The choices they made were perfect. And I watched the first X-Men for the draft we did, or when Deadpool showed up. I can't remember which one that was. And I forgot that the moment where Magneto makes all the guns levitate and points them back at everyone, that's a really, really, really cool comic book movie moment. I mean, any movie moment, but something that, can only be done specifically in comic book movies. And again, it was like, oh yeah, they have been doing cool stuff for a long time, like,
they really have. And I mean, just one of the best castings still of all time.
Yeah.
As physically different, speaking of comic book accurate, like Hugh Jackman should not be Wolverine for so many reasons, but who else can you picture now as that?
I mean, they nailed a lot of that casting.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it wouldn't fit today's standard, you know. They'd be like, "What the freak?"
Yeah, exactly. The only one that you can still do is Patrick Stewart. Then it'd be like, yeah, he's perfect for
like James Marsden is
exactly.
So
the 27 dresses guy.
Would you want to do where your perspective is the same as it was when you first saw it? Like, so we're going back in time, or do you want to see it with your fresh perspective?
There'd be no other way to do it.
Yeah,
yeah. I think for that movie especially, I think if with my perspective now, like something like Everything Everywhere All at Once for sure would probably be it, just because holy crap, that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I could sort of, like I said, erase every superhero movie we see now and then experience X-Men for the first time would be just so cool.
Nice. Love it.
That's cool. I dig it. So now we are once again official Clubhouse members.
We can join the Clubhouse again, thankfully.
It is interesting to like do that exercise though. It's not something that we typically do. Well, so we're usually the ones asking questions here. So let's turn it over to our Clubhouse. And we had some people send in some questions for us. Matt, why don't you take the helm here and read out some of these questions?
Sure. Kayla says, "Congrats. If you could kill one of your co-hosts and get away with it, who would it be?"
Very on brand for Kayla. They're always throwing us off.
They really are. I love it. When I saw that they had sent one in, I was like, this is not going to be a standard question. I can't wait to see what it is. So I think this is perfect.
If we could kill one of our co-hosts,
I feel like Tom and I have started to have some friction, as we noted in the last episode.
Okay.
We didn't quite get, it was still the Two Towers, right? So we didn't get to Return of the King where we became friends. Right. So probably at this moment, if he's
so we're offing guests. We're not offing each other. We can't even answer.
It's co-host. It's co-host. Ben, erase this.
I was like, we didn't get to Return of the King, but I heard a lot about Return of the King before I saw it in that episode, which I loved. It's like, I haven't seen it yet, but this is great.
Important plot lines that
I loved it.
Okay. If you could kill one of your co-hosts and get away with it, who would it be? So is this an F, marry, kill sort of thing? Like,
I feel like the only way I can answer it is by length of time. I've known you less. You're done.
That's fair.
I'm going to die twice, actually. You guys are both going to end up killing me.
That's true.
Because you've known me less time than you've known him.
Well, that's going by your standard. You're the one going by time. Yeah, you're assuming we're going to be
You're imposing your criteria on Ben.
That's true.
Which is why I'm going to kill you.
I told you I was gonna die twice.
You know what? Here's the thing is I wanted to skirt the answer, obviously, by not killing, but we've talked about before how often we get swapped. I would love to do like a face-off thing with you, or even if I could just put you in a basement and leave you there and try to live your life, you know?
Good luck.
I know, right? But there is a time when people, we may have talked about it on here before, but still one of my favorite things.
And my biggest regret in life. Literally my biggest regret in life.
One of my favorite things. We used to work at the same job. I was gone. I was away from the area. Tyler was there and someone came up. It's
important to know that he was a supervisor at the time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
He had authority. I did not have any authority.
And someone approached him and he's like, all right, I guess I'm going to go buy you lunch. Is that right? Like essentially that was kind of.
Yeah, a guy comes up to me in the concourse. He's like, hey, I owe you lunch. And I was like, okay, sure. For what? And I was kind of playing along for a minute, but apparently.
Yeah, I guess we had the guy and I had a bet and he lost and he owed me lunch and he thought I was Tyler. And I was like, man, I still kind of wish he would have taken that lunch.
You and me both did. So. I was very poor at the time. I could have used that lunch.
That's where my brain went with this. Like, man, I wonder if we could do
But he could have fired me if I just taken your lunch. So.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you knew that.
Well, anytime the conversation comes up where it's like, who do you kill first if you have to resort to cannibalism? And I always joke that people would kill me first, but then they'd immediately have to kill someone else because I just taste so bad.
Yeah, I feel like I would get killed first with cannibalism. Yeah, exactly. Here. It's like you can, make me a tauntaun and just get inside me and sleep and then eat the rest of me.
That's true. I guess if the criteria is survival, you'd probably go first.
For sure.
Just for the tauntaun reason.
Understandable. I love it. Yeah, that makes sense. Good luck getting a podcast episode done once you just kill me.
I thought they smelled bad on the inside, on the outside. The tag Jazz with a donut. What movie is there that y'all will never agree on?
I don't know.
Oh, probably Interstellar.
One of our biggest flaws on this podcast is, for the most part, there's no contention
Yeah.
For the most part, we almost
That's kind of how this started,
everything.
is that we all knew we kind of had the same taste. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, let's all watch stuff together.
So it's rare that one of us is an outlier. It's extremely rare that we all disagree. Because I guess for all three of us to disagree, two of us have to agree.
One has to like it, one has to hate it, one has to be indifferent, I guess. If we're going to answer this question, like literally.
Cranks?
But,
I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah, I did not like Cranks.
I just, give me the tanning booth scenes. I'm fine.
And I love Cranks. So
maybe that's it.
There you go, Ethan.
That's it. Yeah.
And also
that's
Ethan loves it. So we like go through the whole spectrum there.
Yeah, he's way up top with that. I love it.
Blake Riverton asks, least favorite movie that other people like, worst movie you've seen, or favorite bad movie?
Okay.
So 3 different questions.
So least movie that other people like. I mean, that's got to be Joker.
That was essentially our whole second
That was
chance
that round,
cinema.
yeah.
It was basically that.
Greatest Showman for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
for you.
Interstellar.
What did I pick in that round? I
Joker.
forget.
You did Joker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Worst movie I have ever seen is a movie called Bats. I used to work at the movie theater that Tyler would sneak into. I got to see it for free and I still walked out because I was like, I don't even want to give it my time. Like I didn't even pay for this and I don't want to hang out here. So that's still the worst movie I have ever seen.
Is it like Cats, but with bats?
It's like Birds, but with bats. But it's like, it was filmed here in Utah, I believe. It was at like the old Jordan High School before it became Jordan Commons.
Okay.
It was like it was in that section where like it was shut down, but they hadn't torn it down yet. I believe it's like Lou Diamond Phillips or someone that's in it. But it's just horribly, just bad. Like, I don't know. I'd be curious to revisit it to see how bad it is.
Don't you dare make us watch this movie
Please do not.
by submitting it on Patreon.
I'll watch Cats.
At www.threefilmspod.com.
Don't you dare sign up for Patreon
Don't
at
you
the
do
highest
it,
level at which you can request episodes. Don't you dare do that.
So yeah, that, or there's a Jodie Foster film called The Brave One that I had to watch for school and I couldn't
I
even
remember you
finish
telling
it.
me about this.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't do that. As far as my favorite bad movie, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to pick. Like, it's hard to think of like what's bad if we like it, but I know one that's very particular to my taste is Kung Pao, Enter the Fist.
You've recommended this to me a few times.
Yeah,
so.
it's like, it's not a good movie by any means, but it's like, it makes me laugh so much. This dude is just like repurposed multiple old Japanese films, and it's, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it, but he does the whole Matrix bullet time thing with a cow and milk out of the udders. Like that's the level that we're at here.
Yeah.
So it is not a good movie, but it's probably one of my favorite bad movies.
I dig it. Least favorite movie that other people like. I think off the top of my head, it's probably Joker. The worst movie I've ever seen. So it's funny you mentioned me sneaking into movies, because the movie I'm about to mention, I actually did pay for. I'm pretty sure. Either I paid for it or at least one person paid for it, and then they facilitated.
He's only saying that's a WJPD if you're listening.
But it was a Master of Disguise. I think I've mentioned this before with Dana Carvey.
Oh, yeah.
No, wait, we did sneak in. Okay. We snuck in.
Okay, WJPD.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. But because I remember thinking like, I can't even sit through this for free.
Yeah.
I think we were out of there within like 5 minutes. It was bad.
I love it. It's so
Straight to
good.
Rubio's or whatever that restaurant used to be in Jordan Landing.
Nice. That's awesome.
And then favorite bad movie. So there's a John Leguizamo movie that I was obsessed with for about 6 months called The Pest. Have either of you seen it?
No.
Don't.
Yes.
Or do.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very specifically terrible movie that for an adolescent young man is really funny. It's just nothing but like, there's a lot of problematic things about The Pest. Like he does a lot of stereotypical accents and that sort of thing. Really shitty movie. But it was super funny to me when I was in high school.
Nice.
I don't know. Lots of, fart jokes and stuff like that. I had my time with The Pest.
Love it.
Not proud of it.
The worst movie I've ever seen has got to be, there's a movie called Nothing But Trouble. I may have mentioned this on the pod before, but it's got
Tim Robbins? No. It's Nothing to Lose or something. Sorry.
Yeah, it's got Dan Aykroyd, John Candy.
Movie.
It's got Tupac in it.
Yeah.
It's got Demi Moore in it, and it looks like Dan Aykroyd's like dressed as like he's got crazy makeup on and he plays twins, I think.
Yeah.
And it's like a haunted house movie. And it just looks like this has got to be so fun.
Yeah.
Like, this cast.
Incredible.
Yeah. The cast is, yeah.
And it's the worst movie I've ever seen. Like, yeah, it's not even funny how bad it is. Like, it's just boring.
But there's a scene in, I think, where the rap group Digital Underground comes in.
They come in and play and Tupac's there. Yeah.
It's like, it's so weird.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tupac.
It's kind of ringing a bell now. I think we might have mentioned that movie before at some point, whether on the pod or like in private discussions. But because I think I do remember like looking up the Tupac part of it. But yeah, that sounds. It sounds like a grand slam.
Yeah.
Again, don't go to 3filmspod.com.
Don't make us watch
and
that
join our
movie,
Patreon and make us watch this. Please do not do that. For as little as $2 a month, do not go join our Patreon.
My favorite bad movie, honestly, has got to be Wicker Man.
Okay.
And we're watching that, next round. So
I'm even more excited.
It's when people say like, is there a bad movie that's like hilarious? That's the one I always go to. It's like, it's peak Nicolas Cage. Nice. Everything you want him to be in that movie.
Cool.
Is The Three Ninjas bad? I haven't seen it since I was really young, but I remember loving it. I'm sure it's terrible.
I mean, in a general sense, but I guarantee you if I showed my kids Three Ninjas, they would love it.
Yeah. How have they not seen Three Ninjas yet?
I mean, that's what I was going to say. Like, I feel like
what
it was
kind of father are you?
It was our age. Like, it's hard to say, like, it was good then.
I'm sorry I said that to you. I can't believe I just said that.
Tommy.
I already killed you once on this podcast.
Tommy, I'm sorry if you're listening, Tom. He didn't mean it.
We'll have a Three Ninjas watch party for Tom. Maybe that could be his debut on the pod.
That would be cool.
Three Ninjas.
That would be cool.
That would be interesting.
He would love that,
actually. Next round?
Yeah. Kind of cool.
For
all of our kids.
At least a little pod episode.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Anyways.
For the little, yeah.
Stuff writes itself, you guys.
We'll play with that. Dirk asked, if your podcast was a movie, what movie is it? And what parts are you all playing?
I mean, this is the easiest question of the bunch, right?
Whoa, please.
We've literally named our podcast after a movie.
That's fair.
3 Men and a Little Lady, right?
That makes a lot of sense. 3 Men and a Baby. Yeah.
So whichever character does the most work, that's Ben.
Okay.
Whoever does the second most work in that movie, that's Matt. And then like the fun uncle that just like shows up. That's
Funkle. Yeah. I think according to the artwork on our logo, I'm Tom Selleck, you're Danson, and you're Gutenberg. Perfect. Which I think for the last time I watched the movie, that sounds fairly accurate.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it. I think that makes a lot of sense. That's the perfect answer. I didn't even like think of it. I was like, what movie has 3 people like trying to, I was trying to
handle something that they have no idea.
Yeah, I was trying to force in like The Hangover. It's like, how is Justin Bartha like the podcast? How are like, what are we reaching for in Justin Bartha? Where it's like the 3 of us are like looking for something here. I was like, I don't know. I have no idea, but I think it's obviously the perfect answer. 3 Men and a Baby.
You came up with the name too.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why. But I don't know. Yeah.
Cameron Winkley, old friend Camcom, is asking,
Beast?
Did you ever find Bugs Bunny attractive when he put on a dress and pretended to be a girl bunny?
Anyone that says no to this is lying.
Yeah. I mean, it's
there you go. Instead of asking us that, ask yourself that question.
Come on, Cam. Look at
that. Why did you ask us that? Anything about that?
If you're looking for validation, we're providing it for you.
Yeah,
okay. So Ethan Simi asked, way too early Oscar predictions for next year based on festivals. Also, why does Ben hate Joker so much?
I mean, if you want like an in-depth answer to that, I would suggest you go listen to our Joker episode. But as I mentioned, well, I meant for the general public, but Ethan, I actually think he did listen to it. I think what I learned, as I talked about earlier, is that I have no respect for Todd Phillips as much as I was just trying to make us The Hangover.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what are you
like? I don't have respect for him in that movie. You know what I mean? Like, I'll keep it brief, but it's a movie where if you take away the DC of it all, it's not good, or we've seen it already. It's King of Comedy. It's Taxi Driver. Like, if he's just going up to a little kid at a gate and like making him smile, that's creepy. But because we know it's Bruce Wayne, it's like, all right, it's like creepy, but we get it. It's like, if he's not Joker, this movie's just not good in my opinion. And he just copied and pasted those other Scorsese films, knew he couldn't get it made. And he's like, you know what people like now?
Yeah.
IP. So what if I make this DC movie and it's Joker? And everyone's like, hell yeah.
Do we know that's what he did? Or is that just like,
that's like
our theory?
That's our best theory.
Yeah. I feel like that's like internet titles. You know, when you see stuff, you're like, oh, that's really interesting. And just like scroll on. Like, I feel like I had seen that he couldn't sell the script that he was working on. But Warner Brothers was like, well, if you're able to like, or I think he approached them as like, if I can spin it into a Joker thing and like make it more specific, would you finance it?
And that's so crazy to me. Like, I just don't know how you come up with that. Whatever. I'm not.
What's weird is just there's things that are done really well with Joker. What's interesting to me is that Todd Phillips, who did The Hangover, Starsky and Hutch, Old School, could have made an amazing Joker movie.
Yeah.
And people think he did make, a lot of people believe he did make an amazing Joker movie.
Could have made one in that vein.
Yeah. And sometimes it felt like this movie wanted to be that. And then it was just weird, you know.
Yeah.
I can just picture him on the other end of this watch, like, what you talking about it?
I mean, he's not wrong. And like, he's like, you know, I hate seeing all the news for the new ones. It's like, oh yeah, Lady Gaga's going to be in it. I was like, well, fuck, all right, man. Like,
I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I am. I know I'm going to be there. We're going to go see it. Like,
yes,
if you want us to rent out a theater,
Todd. You
go see it. We will. Yeah, I don't know. As far as like too early Oscar predictions,
I'm the worst person. The only movie, we were talking about this before we recorded. The only movies I watch are the ones for this podcast. So Everything Everywhere All at Once would be my only real pick.
And I mean, that was like one that I was going to mention. I feel like that has to at least be nominated for Best Picture. I think it's going to do some good stuff. It's going to be hard. Like, the Academy loves a real person story, loves a biopic, and loves Steven Spielberg. So I don't know how The Fabelmans isn't going to just do like absolute numbers at the Oscars. Like, it's Steven Spielberg. Like, hey, you guys want to see my life story from my perspective with my skills? And like, yes, we would love to see that. So I feel like Fabelmans is going to do great, but my hope is that Everything Everywhere All at Once, Michelle Yeoh, Ke Kwan, like, I hope he gets like nominated. Like, seriously. I just hope that movie gets the recognition it deserves for being such an early in the year release, because that movie is fantastic.
I've been hearing some Blonde buzz. And I think that's going to be like the divisive pick. Yeah. I hear like some people fucking hate that movie so far. And some people are like writing threads on Twitter of how much it's great and why it's great. Yeah. So I'm curious to see that one. I mean, yeah, again, I'm not in touch enough. For someone who's a part of a movie podcast, I'm very out of touch.
We're not an Oscars podcast.
That's true.
So yeah.
Speaking of the Oscars though,
sorry. One last one that we skipped over. Our buddy Christian from Movie Pit Podcast asked how we were all doing. I'm just excited to be here after 2 years.
That kind of hurts.
But. Yeah. Other than that, I mean, this is just kind of crazy. Like 100 episodes. And this started out, you know, early before the podcast. And I don't know. I'm just stoked to still be here. Yeah. I'm excited to get into season 3 for sure.
Yeah. It's an interesting feeling being like, it feels like we're starting to get sort of a foothold. You know what I mean? We're creating a community, and we've made some new friends along the way, and you know, made some new friends internally along the way. It's just been a really cool. When I talk to people about this outside the pod, when they ask about it, it's an interesting exercise. Like, you had like to think about putting out content, to think about creating something that's interesting and worth people's time. You know, it's a fun exercise, and at the very least, it's something that, you know, we're learning through, and we're having a lot of fun doing. It's been cool. And it makes me appreciate people that can speak well on like camera or on recordings.
Yeah. Yes.
It's watching football is a great example of this. Like Al Michaels, I'm like, this guy is a genius. Like, he and Chris Collinsworth, I was watching the other day. I was like, this is bananas. Like, the way they can seamlessly go back and forth between the things that, you know, the producers are telling them to say.
Yeah, exactly.
And fluidly talking about the game. It really is a skill that it seems so easy. I mean, we make this look real easy, you know.
It's true.
But it's a tough thing to do, and it's a lot of fun to try and do. And it's been great exploring this new medium with the both of you and all of you.
No, it's been a super rewarding experience. And if you've gone 100 episodes, putting up with my pauses in the middle of my thoughts, then I really appreciate that. Yeah, the ums. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, we have a long way to go. I think all of us just want to put out a great product, something that people can enjoy. And more than anything that brings people to watch movies that they haven't seen before, but even more like talk with us about these movies.
Yeah,
totally.
So we've got a lot of stuff. Like this podcast might not look the same as it does today, hopefully 5 seasons from now, but we're definitely learning along the way and doing the best we can and just really enjoying it. So
yeah, it's been fun. Yeah. Thanks everyone for sending those questions in, and yeah, love the movie club.
Yeah. Love the movie club.
Love the movie club.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.
3 men and a baby.
I think she did a doodle. Your turn to change her.
I'll give you $1,000 if you'll do it.